transcending anything that exists on this earth, and materialistically speaking, the spiritual search and spiritual achievement, and spiritual enlightenment, and spiritual power is regarded as one of the most highest thing, the greatest thing that mankind ever could achieve. That is true. Enlightenment is the highest thing that we could ever achieve. Beyond being president, beyond being millionaire, beyond being whatever, great poet, great writer, whatever, the spiritual achievement is regarded as the most highest thing, the greatest thing that we could ever comprehend and ever become a powerful person, personality-wise, and wisdom-wise, and so forth. We all know that, we all acknowledge that, but at the same time, we have a lot of problems with that. So presenting the teaching of spirituality properly, that you have to have a very good understanding of basic sanity, and also you have to have a good understanding of basic materialism spiritually. And we have coined this word called spiritual materialism. Spiritual materialism, that might speak you something. The spiritually materialistic, that using the name of spirituality and egohood, trying to become a greater person, a wise person, which is very dangerous and very problematic. And it not only destroys you, but destroys whole wisdom of humanity. And it is, in fact, Satanism. So we should think very carefully about that particular concern. We should discuss that particular situation very clearly, very openly to each other, and try to understand what that means. So I hope that I would like to devote certain part of my course, this first stage, for you to understand the meaning of spiritual materialism. We, of course, intellectualize the whole thing, and we could also identify with ourselves, but I feel that whatever we do, both of those possibilities are open, that we shouldn't kid ourselves around. We're saying that only thing that we can do here is to get off in the path. Now that you boarded on the airplane of an Arab Institute, let's turn on the engine. Let's fly. Let us make ourselves into a cosmic transcendental airline. Let everybody be the passenger. Let's fly above the sun and the moon and the universe. It's very easy to say. Easy to say, but it is not difficult to do that. Since everybody is sitting on the ground, sitting on the floor, and nobody can get an inch off the ground if you want, physically and spiritually, absolutely not. Maybe psychologically you think you are doing, but then that is another spiritual materialism. So I'm sorry to be such ordinary and down, but I think that particular approach is absolutely necessary in order to build this particular journey, which will take off the ground. Before we do that, we have to understand where we are. If you want to fly, in an aeroplane, you can't just fly. You have to make money. And you have to think how much it costs to buy a ticket. And then that's not enough. But then you have to go to the airport, you have to book your ticket, and you have to find out your flight number and what particular airline you're flying. And then you have to walk, and also you have to find out what gate number you're flying. And then you have to board into the airplane. You have to stop your cigarettes out. You have to walk, check your baggage. And then also you have to find your seat number where you're sitting in. And then you have to fasten your seat belts and put up your tray table and your seat bag. You have to go through all those formalities. Otherwise, you don't have a safe journey, as they say. Regarding the question of spiritual materialism, that self-oriented pursuit, which dedicated to pursuing a self, ego, to become oneself a greater and powerful person, that if you use mantras, chantings, meditations, all kinds, that you think you're going to get greater person, greater personality, greater individual who could trod on the path. But on the other hand, you can ignore the whole thing, just chant mantra beautifully, ignore the whole thing, and not caring about an ego or anything else, just as if you never heard of such thing. One can do that, but still it is spiritual materialism, that you are deceiving yourself. That there is enormous problems with that. So tonight I would like to introduce the basic notion, the basic idea as to what does mean spiritual materialism from the point of view of ego orientation. That you wanted to achieve certain particular result, cause and effect, because of practicing in a certain way, that you get what you want, and then you can use it as if that automatic rifle was presented to your 3-year-old son, who then can actually actualize the cowboy and Indians, and he could bang, bang, bang round. Actually, you could hear the bang, bang, bang going. And you could appreciate that. Gee, isn't it fantastic? I could actually do it. I don't have to fantasize myself on the television anymore. I could become the cowboy. Maybe we've been watching too much televisions nationwide. And we got these ideas. Sense of not knowing where the responsibility lies, where the game lies, where the kick out lies. That has become a tremendous problem. And we could sit down here and say that now, if you sit down in 3 minutes and say a certain particular word, by saying so, you're going to get enlightened. that is extremely cheap, unreasonable. That undermines human dignity, that human beings possess, supposed to possess some kind of intelligence as to develop some kind of critical attitude to what you're doing, and you're supposed to see through that. So that is the basic point where spiritual materialism could cut through by your own self-existing irony, critical attitude, to cutting through that kind of deception. And that is where the function of enlightenment lies, that you can't be all that deceptive, you can't be all that challenged, and you can't be all that gullible and a coward. So that is where the possibilities lies. Otherwise, there's no point in talking about enlightenment. Absolutely not. And we should have more trust in a computer. Everything's mechanized. But since everything's not mechanized, everything's experiential, therefore there's strong possibilities to fight back against such spiritual materialism, which is an extremely important point that I would like to make, is that that's the key point, that there is the cynical attitude that exists within us, that one wonders, should I give in to my cynical attitude? Or maybe I should give in. Maybe I should go through the whole way. And at this point, it is absolutely necessary to understand basic spirituality, to go along with the cynical attitude, questioning everything, not necessarily intellectual, logical, metaphysical way, but experientially. Trying to go along with that particular approach is extremely important. So that is the first step, as well as the first step for you to be a student here to how to sharpen your intellect.